So let's see, Dave's here and Christie's here.
Oh,
And
boy.
Kevin's here and Mike is here. Doug is here. And Jamie is here. Very good.
So who
We
do
got
I
a full house.
We got a full house.
Okay, all the attendees are here, Brian.
We got everybody.
Okay, good.
We've got everybody. So that's the roll call. All right. I doubt that we have any citizens petitions, so we'll roll through that. And what I will do then is to ask if everybody had a chance to go through the meetings from the last minute, the minutes from the last meeting, and if they have any corrections, additions, or subtractions.
No, I'm good.
Oh, there's Tim.
I
Yeah,
am here. I'm under Kelly's name.
Oh, now I'm really confused.
Yeah, the only thing that I saw was under approval of minutes. I'd like to have that say that Mr. Russell moved as in the past tense, and that Mr. Doyle moved as in the past
Yeah,
tense.
yeah.
Otherwise, I didn't see anything else.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything? The Crickets win. Very good. If that's the case, then I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
That's Dave Russell, move. Anybody second?
I will second.
Mike Doyle, second. All right, they've been moved and seconded. All in favor, indicate aye.
I
Aye.
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 Any nays? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the minutes passed unanimously. All right. Moving on to communications and reports. PSBC members.
All I got is, we did the walkthrough of Thames River School. Looked good. School looks good. It's nice and clean. Property really looks nice. Building seems to be moving right along. Some areas are done more than others, but that's a good thing. So, very pleased.
Thanks, Steve.
And Kevin was on that same walkthrough with us. Kevin, did you have anything you wanted to bring to everybody's attention?
I don't think his volume's working. Yeah, that's,
What are you using for volume there, Kevin?
No, I can't hear him.
No.
No.
yeah, he had the same problem last week.
Needs a new audio card.
Oh, looks like Brian's having the same problem too. Is that why
No,
he?
Brian's on. Brian.
No.
was
No, I
on.
just shook my head because I was just telling him I couldn't hear him. That's all. I mean, there was no need. To
Hey, there he is.
I've been here. I was having the trouble with that other meeting link, so I just went in the other way, the one that came from the town.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the one I went in.
That's the one you're supposed to use. So.
But that put me in the lobby, and then no one knew I was here, and you can't do anything when you're there.
Well, I was looking. I said, "Where's Brian?" It said, "Oh, 6 o'clock. There he is." Okay.
Okay, well, I'll take over for Kevin then and say, yeah, David and Kevin and I went and did a walkthrough over at Thames River. It's really kind of fun to see how far along they've come. The retaining wall in that area is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
The rooms look really nice. They're very large, and the windows in them are very big. So it's going to be a nice, light, airy sort of place. The gymnasium is gigantic. It really is going to be nice.
Yeah. I mean, I think I can't wait to see glass in to where you can really get a perspective of the view.
Yeah.
It's very aesthetically,
Right.
with the property and the rolling hills and all that. Aesthetically, it's going to be a really nice view.
Yeah, they do have glass in at Cutler, which Kelly,
Right.
and it would be, I mean, if you're interested in seeing how the windows look and that sort of thing, when you can get a chance to get over there, it would.
So the plan right now is to do Cutler next Thursday at 3:30.
Okay.
Right.
So everybody's aware of that. Right, Kelly?
Correct, and I'll send an invite as soon as I get the thumbs up by ONG, but it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, great.
Good.
But that way everybody hears it so they know.
Yeah, but the
Will be.
windows, like you're saying, Dave, they are phenomenal, and getting that light in there that they have is really nice.
Well, and the nice thing about the west side site is because of the terracing,
Oh, yeah.
you know, they've separated the two wings enough that you're going to be able to get light down into the bottom of that building
Right.
from the west as
Some of those views, when you look out and you're gonna be able to see the playscapes and you look out, and
Oh,
you're gonna
yeah.
be able to see the ball field. That's,
the bridge.
I
The
mean,
bridge
that's
is going to be amazing.
Absolutely, yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much to see when you look on the other side because it's the street and the apartments, but you know, when you look out the back side,
Yeah.
that's gonna be pretty nice. And then even where the retention pond is, all that view is just gonna be gorgeous.
Yeah, it is much more attractive site because it is kind of up on the hill and
Yeah.
various levels and that kind of thing. So it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Cutler is, we mentioned it yesterday at the walkthrough, Cutler is kind of flat, but I mean, it is what it is,
Kind of
you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not really kind of flat, it is flat.
But the third story,
know,
I mean,
but-
third story, they'll have some views out, but not,
Yeah.
not like West Side.
Oh, from the roof. We walked on the roof yesterday
Yeah.
and checked out the air handling units and the
Oh,
view
geez.
from there. So you can look down on the airport from there.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
it's pretty neat.
Yeah, I didn't go that far up.
So Jamie, I did find the trail.
Oh, great. Okay, because we also outreach to the Groton Open Spaces, so that's wonderful.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
there is a plan supposedly to try and link all those properties together all the way up to Kolnoski. So I know that's kind of up and down and sort of in the
Wow.
works. So if you want to get rid of a class for a day, you just send them all the way up.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for. No, I was so bummed you guys that I wasn't able to join. Came out of Clodchester yesterday with a flat tire just as I was about to drive over. So I'm excited for another opportunity, which
Yeah,
Kelly and I are working out.
yeah, we can set one up.
Yeah.
We can, certainly.
Absolutely. But yeah, you're going to love it. It's going to look great. And the classrooms, like I said, with no ceilings in at the moment, the classrooms seem really, really large, but that's going to be fun.
Yeah, and they still have close to a 10-foot ceiling. So,
Oh yeah.
so they're still going to be pretty cavernous, if you will.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to add to communications and reports? All right, then we can move on. We have consultants.
We
have staff and program
Yeah,
managers.
that's right. I mean, Kevin, if you still can't talk, you can dial into that number and be on the phone too, and be in the video if you want. So there should be a number attached to that link, if you will, the phone number. I don't know if he's hearing. Yes. Okay.
All right, so we've got both.
So why don't we, if you don't mind, Bob, why don't we start with the elementaries today, and then we can do the middle school, and then roll right into the new business.
Exactly. That's what I was going to suggest.
Okay. Well, geez.
Besides that, Kelly's been here first, so
Yeah. Well,
he wins.
chomping at the
And I'm
bit.
here twice.
So what do you got for us, Cal?
All right, well, we'll start with Thames River since we're on that topic. And this is kind of for everybody else that didn't go on the site walk. Area A and B and C, we are pretty much all dried in except for the cafeteria and the gym. So the cafeteria is scheduled to be dried in end of next week, and the gym will be dried in, it's scheduled to be beginning of next week, and that's all weather dependent on how the storm goes and how long it lasts into next week. So we're hoping to be 100% by the end of next week. That's with the roof being dried in. And then area B, it's the admin area. They're moving along really well with, you saw they're putting drywall up in there. The rough-ins are moving along almost 60% in there. They're moving along really well, all but the gym, of course. And then area A is kind of like our outdoor classroom area right now. Not much going on in there.
That's the outdoor dining area.
Yeah,
Yeah, we called that the al fresco.
but they will begin framing that area. Next week, they'll start putting track up before the roof's done, but right after that roof goes up, the crews will move into there immediately after area A or area B. And then into area C for finishes. The first floor you saw, we started painting. So first coat has begun as of yesterday. So they're moving along painting first coat classrooms. And then drywall is almost done. There's a few areas that were left out, but pretty much substantially complete downstairs. Taping is moving along. Second floor is kind of the opposite. Drywall is just beginning up there along with installations. They're finishing up MEP rough-ins and getting sign-offs from the building inspectors. And then third floor is in the middle of the two. They're taping, drywalling, and then they'll move once they're done with the first floor up to the third floor for finishes. The roof, we have our chiller on the roof. The DOAs are in the manufacturer's shop, ready to be delivered to the site. So in the next couple of weeks, we should be seeing those go up. There's 2 on the roof in area C. And then as for the outside, we have veneer going in all locations with a second crew expected to start Monday. So they're moving a little slow, as you can tell in area A. But second crew starts Monday. They're going to start in area A and B, take over that, and then the crew we have now will stay in area C so we can begin installing windows within the next 2 weeks. Besides that, you saw the retaining wall that is substantially complete, a few caps that we have to put in, and playgrounds all set besides hanging those swings and finishing the mulch. And I think that's pretty much it for Thames River.
On your Thames River School, on the rooms that you've already got the painting started, what's your schedule for ceilings?
Ceilings, probably not for another track, probably in the next month. And then grid following that, and cuts won't be towards the end.
Okay.
Who's
Doing the ceilings?
Conacoustics.
Conacoustics, yeah. Okay.
And anything else for Thames River? Any questions?
No.
Our screening should go up hopefully after the snowstorm on the fence line. We're working on the monument sign with the building official, working on getting approval for that. We'll obviously present it to you all as soon as we have approval for him, redesign from the design team, and then we'll let you know what it looks like. But right now it's a little too big.
Yeah. So
Any COVID or safety issues that we should be aware of?
Thank you for reminding me. We have nothing on either school, no COVID or no safety. This is 3 weeks in a row, so it's great.
Good deal.
Mm-hmm.
And you haven't found the time capsule yet, huh?
They kept their eye open for it and they never found it. And now it's paved over. All right, any other questions for Thames River?
No.
All right, Mystic River. So we are 99% done with the roof. We have, it would have been done today if it wasn't for the snow. AVB is down, so it's essentially dried in, but we don't have the insulation and the membrane on. But all areas are pretty much dried in. They're moving along everywhere. So we'll start with the first story, A and B. Framing is complete in all areas. They are moving along in A and B with mechanical, electrical, plumbing rough-ins. They are almost even done in the gym and cafeteria with rough-ins. And then also their admin area and the boiler room. So they're moving along fairly well. No sheetrock yet at area A or B. They're waiting for 100% dry in there because they have kind of A and B isolated. So until it's 100%, they're gonna wait. In area C, they have Thames River stole the painter, so there's no painting going on over there. But they have drywall in on all floors, insulation, taping throughout, and pretty much, they're just rolling through. Rough-ins are substantially complete in Area C. The roof is substantially complete. They set a bunch of air handler units over the last week. And the biggest thing on the outside is that we have windows going in. So the entire side of Area A and B in that courtyard area, those windows are all in. They're looking really well, really good. And then they started installing windows on the second floor of Area C. So when you go into a classroom, it does look really nice. It really brightens up the space and shows you how that's actually going to look. So that's exciting. And then veneer is ongoing. They're almost done, and they're done in Area A. They have to start Area B, the admin area, and then they're continuing on the east side of Area C for veneer. Let's see what else for Cutler. I think that's pretty much it, or Mystic River.
Are we using propane on both schools?
Yes.
Okay.
The Connecticut Gas or Eversource is almost done. They were supposed to be done by the end of this week, but they may have gotten delayed a little bit today. They weren't there today. They won't be there tomorrow. Right. So they'll probably be done mid next week. And then as soon as they're done, they're going to hang their meter on the veneer wall, the masonry wall that we had prepared for them. And then we'll do they're ready to turn the power on as soon as possible for the gas on. So yeah, not the power, but they're ready to energize as soon as possible.
Nice. Okay.
Any questions?
Nope.
Any issues that we can help you with?
No, honestly, we're moving along well. The city and the town have been really great to work with. All the utilities have been great so far. None of that type of stuff has hurt us in any way, knock on wood. So we're moving along.
So one thing that Kelly didn't let you know is we received letters today for FF&E approval for those schools. So Arcadis, Emily at Arcadis is working on putting together the packages for purchasing all the POs, that sort of thing that goes out to the contractors and our purchasing agents, so we can start tracking that kind of thing.
Yeah, and one thing on that that we are working with Jamie is those blocks, because we do have the blocks that are sharp that you guys don't like. So
okay.
Yeah, it was a learning experience last year.
The other working with Lindsay, and so the interior designer is coming up with a few other alternatives that we can hopefully have the same cost, same manufacturer, and not have to worry about going back to the state. It's just like a swap type of thing. And Rick, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Right now, there's no solution yet, but we are working on it.
I have a question about the furniture, and of course we could do it outside this, I don't know, but it would be the count of a piece of furniture that you had in the original, because we're moving an additional kindergarten into my building, so it might change some of the furniture. So I don't know. I think I emailed you that, Kelly, so I don't know if that's part of this meeting or it could be a different one.
Well, we'll probably need to have another one, because we'll have to look at the plans and see, but I thought maybe we had accounted for that, but we'll take a look.
Yeah, it's another one. Okay. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only so your tables are adjustable. Is it a second kindergarten? Do you know what room it would be in? Is it in the
Not yet.
room?
It would not be in the science room. I have to it's all projection sort of driven. So I have to figure it out. It's called a transitional kindergarten, but it's considered a kindergarten. So I have to figure out where that space would be.
Yeah, because every room is furnished with furniture.
Yep.
There's no empty rooms. We kind of, did as much as we could with stuffing them full as much as we'd be allowed to. So
yeah,
we would have to definitely look to see where you put that room first.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
Yeah,
but
so we can talk offline and get that straightened out.
sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it, see what we can do in that regard. What else? I don't know, the elementary schools generally are moving along pretty well. We seem to be where we need to be at this particular time. Site work has stopped, obviously, over at West Side until we get a little bit warmer weather, and then they can finish their paving and do their other things. But
You want to just touch on the FF&E budgets and
the FF&E budgets, if you will. We had $1 million and just a little bit of change on each of those FF&E budgets. The amount that was submitted to the state was like 947,000 on one, and slightly more on 950 on the other one. So So we're in, under our budget, or where we're supposed to be with our budget. You know, obviously there's some other costs that they attach that we absorb in other places like design and that sort of thing. So, but they have to put it in because the state wants to know what it costs to do the design and stuff. And we pay for that, of course, under the architects fund. So that's already paid for. So we're in good shape right now as far as the budget goes. We'll take a look at that. That includes ordering the maintenance equipment for Sam. You know, he's got another little tractor to plow snow, and I guess the one over at the middle school is working well for him. So,
Yep.
So that's good. And
Do you want to touch on the larger Promethean boards?
Oh yeah, larger Promethean boards. We're still working on the cost. We've about got it wrangled in because they're two different projects. For some reason, they came in with two different costs of the changes. Right now, as I told Bob earlier in the day, we expect the cost to be somewhere between probably $30,000 and $50,000. We don't have the exact cost right now. We got both project managers from O&G working hard to get those costs in line, so we know what they are, and we can pass them on to you. Also, we owe you information yet on field irrigation too, and we're being sort of held up by looking at the west side because they need to determine where the water comes from and where they can tap it off. One place needs a pump, one place doesn't. So we're waiting to get that final resolution and the information from the engineer of record, if you will, on that system. So other than that, you know, I think those are the two things that we owe you on that. So as soon as we can get that information, would have liked to have had it today, but we didn't quite get there from here, if you will.
Yeah, we're trying to save some money with not using adjustable mounts on the Promethean boards.
Yeah.
So we're doing a little field trip with Tammy at the middle school to play around with the mounts and the plugs, because we don't have recessed outlets in the back of our Promethean boards. So we just want to go over there and make sure that everything will fit behind that board without that recessed outlet. So we should have resolution next week on that.
Right, and the goal obviously is to keep these three as much the same as we can as far as those types of things, so they're easier for maintenance for the Board of Ed when it comes to that. You know, Kelly did mention the signs. We're working, and we can go into the middle school sign and the middle school portion, but we're looking at having the same size, if you will, a display section, which is about 2 by 6. The high schools is about that size. So we can talk about that, but we want to have the same manufacturer for those materials too, so it makes it easier in the long run for life cycle maintenance by Sam and his crew.
Did you want to talk about technology at all?
Can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
Jamie, I just wanted to ask you about this too. Like when you're talking about the adjustable mounts for the Promethean boards, are you saying that whether they can go up and down on the wall?
That would be what they would do, but we don't have that. We're not planning on having that kind of mount on it. It costs like $40,000 extra per project to add those in.
Okay, the reason I was asking is because I know that when we had originally put them in, Jamie, we had that conversation about elementary, especially the little kids, because otherwise they can't reach the board necessarily. They would have to, like, there were some schools that had the permanently mounted boards and didn't have it adjustable, and they had to stand on stools in order to access it. So it's just something to keep in mind if we're, you know, I'm not saying that we need to spend money where we don't have to, but it's just something to keep in mind that, you know.
And we can look at how those mounts are put together, I think.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
They're not adjustable. And when they say not adjustable, it doesn't mean you can reach behind it, click a lever and move them up and down. I think if you look at the mounts, they could be mounted at certain holes on those. So we can look at that, and we can look at the height that's required and mount them at the appropriate height.
Okay. I was just curious.
So we
I just know that
we'll have to work with Jamie and you folks. On what
when we had done that originally, when we originally put them in, that was the original thought, was to kind of save that money. And I just know that a lot of the buildings had trouble with that because there were a lot of kids that couldn't access it. So
we can talk to it as we get to that point in the construction end of it.
It's going to be like, you have to be this high to take this ride.
Yeah, that's right.
They did
Right,
have
and if
to
they're
make
supposed to be-
platforms. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. so-
Yeah,
Yeah, I
And
understand.
if they're meant to be interactive with kids where they can manipulate them, it's kind of hard to do when
Right, understand.
it,
Yeah,
the
we got it.
bottom of it is it like here, you
Okay.
know?
Oh, yeah, we know. So we'll
Yep.
just make sure you keep after us for that, so we do it right. So,
So yeah, well, our blocking is all in, so the height is kind of, I mean, we could-
well, the height of the mount is where where it mounts to the wall is fixed, not where it mounts to the board, so.
yeah, I think we're planning 2'6" off the
Yeah.
floor.
So we'll look at it. We'll make sure that we get with you on the height. Any other questions? For Kelly or myself? If not, Bob, I think we're ready to.
We can move on to Tammy.
All right, great. So first thing is we're working on the Epiphany repairs and punch list items. The first thing is we had the 2 cables installed this past week for the Promethean boards. They have all been tested. We ran into one of the boards where the cable was already installed and the cable just went bad. So I'm working on getting another cable for that art room. So that's what we're working on right now, and I'm waiting for the final testing results, but they all work except for that one, and I'm working on scheduling training for the faculty to get some training on it. The teacher carts, the additional 17 teacher carts have been ordered. So we're looking for delivery date in March. I did reach out to Keith, so he's aware on when they'll be arriving, and we'll have them all put together, and then he will distribute them to the teachers who need them. The other thing is the classroom locks. So those have been ordered as of today. They will be arriving within 4 to 6 weeks from today's date. And once we have an exact date, we'll keep you guys posted and when they get installed.
And Tammy, the cost around 18,000, right?
Yes, the cost is around 18,731. So that's the additional cost to install the new locks.
That includes installation?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
And those have been coordinated with the other schools, so.
exactly. That's what I was just going to point out, is they're going to be the same locks that we use in the 2 other elementary schools.
Yep. I think the principals, Jamie, and I think Mr. Wheeler have looked at those, and those things are satisfactory for you guys, right?
Yes, Sam brought them around for us to see.
Okay, so that's good.
Okay.
Tammy, one, just for the purpose of the minutes, 17 carts ordered today, delivery when?
The 17 teacher carts will be delivered in March.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, the other thing that we're working on is I'm working on going through all the O&M manuals, the owners and operational manuals for what's required for specifications, going through all the binders, verifying to make sure that we have everything per spec, going through all the warranties, making sure the warranties have the correct years, dates from substantial completion. So I'm currently working on that right now with O&G and finalizing that for the town and for SAM. Let's see, the other thing that we're working on with O&G is getting all the final PCOs in by the end of this month. So I had another 6 that came in, and I believe there is probably another 6 or 7 that will be coming in. So we're working on closing that portion out by the end of the month. Let's see.
Let's give them a drop dead date beyond which they can't put in another CO.
Right. The other thing is the attic stock. So I will be meeting with O&G next week. I was going to do it on Friday, but I'm not sure what the weather is going to bring. So we'll be doing that next week. We've got some more attic stock that has been received, and then I'll be receiving that and then turning that over to Sam as well. Let's see. So the other items, Rick, if you want to go over the letter that's attached.
Well, let's hold up for a second because we have a few things.
Okay.
We'll do that under unfinished business.
Yeah,
Okay.
are likely to be a few questions on the punch list at this point.
Right, and we can,
Sure.
and we can do that. So we'll do
Yep.
that all under that. There was an issue that came up that I talked to you about, Bob, where we had some water intrusion into the building. It was tracked down. It was caused by a handhole that was kind of run over and knocked down the corner of it a little bit. So it allowed water to get in there, and then it allowed water to get into the conduit and then be carried into the building. So there was 2 conduits there. One was a spare that's been capped with your traditional kind of cap. The other one has been sealed with this sealant material. So that being done, the handhole will be raised to the appropriate height. It looked like it had been run over or something, and it will do something to strengthen its place in the world there, and look at what the grading is going up to that. And it's on the right side of the road coming in from the high school, just before you get to the turn into the parking lot. So it's an area that could have been run over during snow plowing, could have been whatever, but we'll evaluate that, take a look at it. And once we get this snow melt, then we'll be able to.
So is it an area that's likely to get run over again?
It shouldn't. It's way off it's like 5 feet off the curb and 4 or 5 feet off the sidewalk. So I don't know how they did that, or whether it didn't get run over and that was the way it was installed. So anyway, as I was saying, once that's done, then we can evaluate whether we have any other issues with the water there and get cleaned up what's there. We need some floor tile to replace, and probably a little bit of sheetrock that got dampened by that absorbed the water. So we'll take a look at those, get those repaired, and look at the final any final requirements or anything else that may be causing us to get water into that area. So that's the only thing we know about that's extra, I think, at this point. We got anything else, Tim?
No, not that's extra.
No, those are. So again, as Tammy said during the, well, then we can finish that under the closeout turnover stuff, because most of the rest of the stuff deals with turnover.
Does anyone
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
As long as we're going to talk about everything under the punch list.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about?
I just, there's a bunch
Moving
of
on. Let's get there first.
Sorry, Bob.
Okay. So
Let's just answer the question, right?
yeah. So what we got going on for closeout? I've prepared a letter from Public Works, sent it to Bob. It was sent to the committee as part of the agenda, if you will. So it's on there. It tells you what the major work items that are left. It's basically the items in the field, if you will, the drainage item between the fields. There's a temporary settling pond next to the softball field that needs to be regraded into the wetlands. There's the sign and the lock sets we put on there also. So those things are
And the window.
and the window. Well, the window is on the
So we could talk about that now.
yeah, I mean, we could talk about that too. That's not on that particular list, but it's on the other list.
Yeah.
So I was dealing with the letter first. So having said that, the letter goes to you folks at some point before we get off of the turnover, and you guys are comfortable, we'll ask you to do that. Bob has written a letter, if you will, to the superintendent, concurring in the town's recommendation to the Board of Ed to turn the building over to them, which is at this point overdue, but it's what it is. And in the meantime, we will continue, the team will continue to do the punch list items to make sure that additional work that's required is done. The contract work and, the other tree plantings, grass, all that sort of thing that's on somebody's list to do. We had a few items on kind of a separate list. They've all been included in the punch list. So now we have one list to go by. I guess if that's what you want to talk about, we could talk about the punch list stuff.
Yep.
You're up, Mike.
So my question was, the punch list had a bunch of that people would be on site yesterday or on
Day before and
Tuesday,
Yeah.
Wednesday, and today.
Mhm.
And my question was, did all that go well? And did they show up? And are we proceeding on, way forward on those items?
So the answer is yes. We've had contractors on site Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. They are going well. The visual display boards, even with the weather, the guys are working on them. They're trying to complete them by the end of this week. We've had Griffin on site. So we have had contractors on site completing the punch list.
And I guess the big question that I had was the windows that are leaking. And it wasn't a big storm. Are there going to be more windows leaking when we have a bigger storm?
So the reason why the window is leaking in room 206 is because the seal went bad. So we had Cherry Hill Glass out, who is the contractor who installed them, and they have ordered a new seal for that particular window, and it will be installed March 3rd.
So I hope you'll understand our
Oh, yeah.
our thing about windows and Cherry
Yes, I
Hill
do understand.
and
I'm
Cherry
very
Hill.
aware. And I
So,
made
so
I made
Mike is
everyone aware.
Mike is asking, why do we have any assurances that another seal is not going to go bad tomorrow?
Well, we don't. And those.
So what's the
things-
warranty situation?
Well, they're under warranty. So if a seal
Right.
goes bad after we turn over the building, they have to come in and fix it. We had one indication, one bad seal out of how many windows.
Understood.
The windows are, for you in particular, Mike, the windows are mounted differently than they were at the other schools. These things are actually sealed in to the vapor barrier as opposed to being put in the hole and then fixed around the windows. So there's a different installation. So if there are any leaks, if you will, from this time, we would expect it to be from seal failure. Maybe a seal was twisted or something as they put the windows together. We've only had one report of that one window to date.
Yep.
So we'll continue to monitor that. But and if again they're under warranty, so if we get another leak, which I don't expect, but I don't want to mess that up.
Looking forward to.
Yeah,
Well,
pushing
yeah.
forward or looking forward to, they will be taken care of, but it's certainly not the same situation or installation method that was used in the other buildings.
So
Or
I,
the high
so I
school.
know my Harvey windows are sealed, 20 years warranty. This is not the 1 year thing, right? This is a 20 or 30 year warranty on the windows, the seals.
Yeah, they do have a longer warranty than the regular contractor 1-year warranty.
Okay.
Any other questions on the punch list or the middle school project?
So,
No, I had a good chance to talk with Rick about it, and my question to the committee is, given that we're looking at the concept of turning this over, do we feel confident enough to do that at the moment? Is everybody satisfied that they have answers to any questions they had concerning the building integrity or any additions or subtractions to the specs and whatnot?
I have
Oh,
another
good.
question on the chilled beam. Is that working as we expected? And
well, as far as we can tell, Mike, it's winter.
Yes.
I know, but
So
fall,
the heating portion is working as we expected. Yeah.
There was probably nobody there in the fall, I guess, to even talk about. So.
No, and
Okay.
and the building is dry. Tammy will tell you the building is really probably too dry at this point.
Yep,
But
It's very,
but they are, as far as we know, functioning. We've had no complaints about temperature in the building for
No.
the various rooms that I'm aware of. So from what I've seen, they
Do we have
appear to be
any?
working as designed.
Do we have any idea of cost relative to other buildings at this point, in terms of heating, cooling?
Well, we haven't really looked at that. I mean, it's something we will look at. We have a lot fewer fans and that sort of thing, so we should take a look at that. Maybe we can compare it to the 100. Take some portion of it, less the gym and whatever. Compare it maybe to Fitch High School, to the 120,000 square foot addition we put on there. maybe we could do something like that to see what we think the energy use is. But we
Yeah, I mean,
certainly
at
could be
some
saving
point-
electricity. Yeah.
At some point in the future, I'd like to be
Yeah,
able to
right.
look and see whether
Right.
the decision to do that was, paid off.
Well, I believe not only from the energy perspective, but also from the classroom noise.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no noise in the
Um,
classrooms now.
Can we put it out there, Rick, to the teachers and staff to look and let us know or feedback on any hot or cold spots in the building?
Oh, geez, now you're opening Pandora's box, but
That's a can of worms.
we'll keep track of
Dave.
Sam and the lead custodian who.
Dave, trust me, if any of them had an issue, we would know about it.
Yeah.
Did,
That's good.
has anybody
and
heard
we-
But I know,
anything?
I know in the past, some rooms will be a little hotter, some rooms will be a little colder.
Mhm.
And if we're not getting any complaints, that's good.
So.
Had
I have
anybody,
not-
yeah, had
So what
anybody
we've
heard
done is
anything about
we've
the
gotten
office?
Tammy out of the middle of this right now, and us out of the middle of it, and have the staff talking to Sam, which they
Tammy.
should be doing. So, we'll continue to touch base with Sam, and he'll let us know if he has any issues, which he has in the past, and if it's contractual, we'll deal with it. If it's warranty issue, he's gonna have to deal with it. Well, we certainly can help him contact that
Right.
contractor.
Christie, you had a
anybody-
question?
I did. So I had to go over to the building to drop something off one
Mhm.
day,
Yep.
and somebody said something in passing about the office. Has there been any conversation? Did you hear anything about the office and something about the heat in the office, or it was cold in the office? But I didn't know if it was just because they were by the door or anything. It was just said in passing, and I didn't really think much about it at all until we just started having this conversation. So have you heard anything about
Yeah.
that by anything?
I have, and I actually sat with Sam and I went over the drawings with him. So what happened is when we installed the millwork, we had to remove the radiant heating on that window to get the millwork in. So it is installed per design. And I don't know, Sam has not gotten back to me
Okay,
and what else he wants to do. So
Okay.
right now it is per design and per contract and per the changes that we
okay.
had done.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I'd heard. And like I said, it was like in passing, because I walked through the office
Right,
to get to
right.
the guidance suite, and somebody
Yeah.
said something kind of in passing, and I
Mhm.
had not even thought about it until
Okay.
we just brought it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, well, I'll check with Tammy, work with Tammy, and we'll see what it is and go from there.
Yeah, thank you.
As part of this also, if we don't have any other material type questions or building type questions, just to fill you in, to make you comfortable with where we stand financially, we are working at closing out contracts. We have, I think, one consultant left, right, Tammy? We're ready to close out 4-Leaf at some point here.
Yes.
So from the town's perspective, we'll have our folks pretty much closed out, of course, except for Arcadis and
Mhm.
OMG, of course. And OMG is working to close out their contracts. We're looking at the retainage, we reduce some of the retainage for those folks that are absolutely done. Authorize them to lower it to 0 or whatever, if they have all their paperwork in. So that's why Tammy's checking the paperwork to make sure they have all their documentation in there before we do that. Because otherwise we don't have any leverage to make sure we get that stuff. So we're moving towards that. I've asked Emily from Arcadis, who's doing our financial stuff. And we'll talk tomorrow because we're looking at a figure as to what our best estimate of project cost is and uncommitted, unspent dollars. Because the town manager has asked me about that, because they're looking at, and I'll go into this after we finish this about light stuff, but so this is not unusual for those that are wondering if there's work going on after the turnover. It's not unusual to finish punch list work afterwards. We have a very small list, although in some of them, for example, you see the field cleanup might have 10 items or 10 or 15 pictures. That's all work that has to be done when it's suitable to go out there and collect all that trash. It's a one-time cleanup for us, for our contractor. Then after that, it's up to the Board of Education. We talked about the detention basin that has to come out. to do that, they have to put in another silt fence, if you will, to protect the wetlands, so they can remove that. And then once that gets stabilized, just like the area you were asking about, Mike, between the fields, that area has to be stabilized before we know exactly what's going on. They have looked at the grades, and they're going to look at the grades again as they prep that area for reseeding in the spring. So I think we're where we should be, and really in pretty good shape as far as turning the building over. Sam's aware of that. We have an updated punch list. We'll continue to work on that. We'll provide that to the committee every couple of weeks if they desire, or more frequently. But we have been talking with Sam and his folks and the superintendent about the building turnover, and we are scheduled, if the committee approves that, to go to the Board of Education on Monday evening for them to accept the building. So I think that's all I have, unless somebody has some questions on the turnover stuff.
Yeah.
What happened to Bob?
I think we lost Bob.
He disappeared about 4 or 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, he
Oh, well.
dropped off completely. I didn't want to interrupt you, but yeah, he dropped off.
Well, we'll see. I don't have him on the attendees waiting to get in here list, so.
He was done listening to us. He just left.
No, it was almost like it almost was. It felt like he either lost internet or lost power because he was just gone. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like mine those couple of times. Remember, I was just gone.
Yeah, he just disappeared. And usually, if there's an internet problem, there's like a delay, right? And you'll see him disappear.
So while Bob is gone, this is something I filled him in on, is the lights. I can fill him in separately, but the town manager and the superintendent, I recommended that they talk about the field lighting, because it's not part of this project, if you will. And so it'll be an independent project outside of this project. The Board of Ed had written a letter to the town manager requesting that like $500,000 for the field lighting for the main field, and I think it was $325,000 to finance lights on the softball field. They being the Board of Ed does have a CIP project in there, but they asked about funding through the remaining bond funds, if you will, not project funds, but bond funds that we will have, because we'll turn this money back to finance as money that isn't required to be bonded because it isn't spent for the project. So from what I understand, the town manager intends to take this to the town council next Tuesday night. So once that happens, we'll find out what's going on. Some of the issues of the bonding attorney revolved around asking people to pay for use of the field, which isn't allowed because this was built with tax-free dollars, if you will.
Right.
As far as we could potentially go is getting folks to pay for the electricity they used, if it's not a school function kind of thing. That's being looked into. So we'll have to see what happens from here. We do have a plan that I mentioned at one time that I provided to the Board of Ed, Sam, to look at, that shows an example, which is kind of how we laid out the conduits for this particular job. So we'll have to see how that transpires and where it goes from there. But that's kind of the status of the light stuff, the light show. I don't know where Bob went. Bob,
I don't know. So what's left? Do you need anything from the committee?
No,
As far as the letter goes?
no,
That's all cut and dry and a done deal.
no. The letter, Bob sent you his draft, right?
Right.
Yeah. So if you folks agree with that draft, there's nothing that we need to do. Kevin, can you hear us?
Yeah, I think before he left, he was looking for a consensus that we agree that, to go ahead and agree to, with the town manager, with the town and everything, to turn the building over to the Board of Ed.
So if you folks agree with that, I think it should be a vote, should be a resolution. We did
Right.
write a resolution that was attached to it. It was kind of lengthy. You could pare that down if you wanted to. It is in your minutes, if you will. It should be attached to, let's see, the back of the letter. So it is a kind of a lengthy resolution. If you want to look at that, you want to pare it down to something less, but we should have a resolution and a vote by the committee to do that turnover. And then as the process goes forward, when we get the financials closed out, we'll go back to the Board of Ed and come back to you folks, tell you that we're done. And we'll get a EDO, what's called an EDO 49F, which is the final.
Right.
It goes to the state saying the project's done, completed, the books are closed. And then we can get on the online for audit, which is probably going to be late May, June timeframe before
Right.
we get to that.
All right, well, in Bob's absence, do you need me to make a motion or
Yes.
ask for a motion?
Yes, or you can
Okay,
have
so
somebody
I'll
read
entertain-
you have somebody read the resolution or read part of the resolution, whatever you guys are up for, you know.
I mean, Bob can do what he wants with the resolution. I mean, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, Yeah, okay.
it doesn't, the resolution is what it is. I mean, if somebody wants to shorten it up, that's fine. If somebody wants to lengthen it, that's fine. I don't really care. What
well,
I'm interested in is,
you're interested in the last line, which says, therefore be it resolved, which you don't have to say, that the Permanent School Building Committee recommends to the Superintendent of Schools that the Board of Education formally accept Groton Middle School.
Right.
That could be your resolution.
right, that's the resolution.
The Permanent
Dave,
School Building
can I
Committee.
say-
recommends.
Dave, you guys, this is, I'm trying to think that, does anyone have Bob's number? Because this is something I think he really does want to be part of. I don't have Bob's number, just to
Yeah,
do a
I
quick
do.
call to him. I mean, think about it, right?
let me
This
call
is
him.
kind of a big deal.
Yeah, and for the sake of clarity, right, in regards to the minutes, to make sure that we're on the up and up, I just want to make sure that I capture, either part of the resolution, some of the resolution, so that it's memorialized correctly.
Right.
Then we get the proper vote, and if there's yays and nays, abstentions.
Yeah.
and
I mean, the resolution
Usually
could
not that
be,
formal, but with this situation,
hey, Bob,
Word.
you want to wait? Okay,
So I'm gonna make the motion of the resolution as written in the letter,
hang on a second.
once Bob
Yes.
talks to us.
Kevin's back in the waiting area. I see you. I'll get you over. Because they're ready to do something with the resolution. So, yeah, okay, so let me see more. I get more here. Promote, okay. And I got more for you, promote. You're being promoted. Oh, you're supposed to be. Oh, there you go. Okay, okay, Bob should be back here momentarily. If not, oh, there you are. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Gotcha, thanks.
Can you hear
Okay.
me without the phone?
Just barely
Yeah,
How's that? Is that better?
getting
yeah,
louder.
I can hear you.
I guess I'll leave the phone on then. I've actually been following you on my pad. My computer seems to have crashed, but I'll bring it back up in a second. So I do know what you're up to.
Okay,
Okay,
So if you're good, I will make a motion for the text in the letter as written as the proposed resolution. That
Yeah.
resolution to the Board of Education to accept the Groton Middle School project as complete. Paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, and paragraph 5 says, therefore be it resolved that the Permanent School Building Committee recommends to the Superintendent of Schools that the Board of Ed formally accept the Groton Middle School.
So that's a motion by Mike. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
A second from Dave. Is there any discussion? Anyone have any issues, comments? Hearing none, we will go to a vote. All in favor?
I,
Aye.
say aye.
Aye.
Anyone that is opposed, please say nay. Anyone who is abstaining? Be it noted that it was a unanimous vote. Excellent. Thank you, everybody.
thank you all.
That's great.
Yep. But before we leave, I would like to fill you in on the sign thing too, which is
Absolutely.
outside of this a little bit, but still part of our punch list. We did have a design for a sign come in. It The display portion was much too large, so it really dominated the sign. I had provided direction to the architect to reduce that to something similar to what's at the high school, if you will. So you see the high school text is legible. They can put 3 lines of text on there, or 1 or 2 lines of text, legible, as opposed to what you may see on the other side of the street down at the bottom of the hill. So the letters are large and at the top of the thing. So we got some variances. One variance was on the size, the overall size of the sign. The other variance was for the size of the display, which if we go to the 2x6 foot display, it virtually meets the town's criteria, regulations, if you will, for that, which are maximum 12 square feet. That was a big sticking point with the planning commission. So I'm waiting for final drawings now. I've been working, and Brian has been helping us with the display portion, if you will, to get the final drawings, get them reviewed, and we'll probably end up with on the 9th of March going back to the P&Z to get approval of this. It may not be easy, but we're hopefully we'll get there at this point. The intention is too, since we're fighting this one particular battle on the middle school, that we use the same size, same type of display, if you will, for the Cutler School, which is going to be approved, needs to be approved by the same people, if you will. We'll probably need to get a variance depending on the size of the actual display, the exact size of the display. We may need to get a variance for the size of the sign because it'll be a little bit bigger than what's allowed. And when they measure the sign, they measure the entire structure as opposed to just the sign portion, if you will. The city's a little bit different where they may just measure the letters as opposed to the rest of the things. We're working with them to figure that one out. So we intend to go back to them on the 9th. So when I get all the plans and stuff finally done, I think you meet again on the 4th, right? I should be able to bring that to you folks on the 4th and show you what we have, what's going. It's been run by the public schools, the Board of Education, and they agree with the look on it. I've seen several school signs around that look pretty much like what we're doing. So we'll have that, and then we'll have to get some costing on it and a construction schedule, which we can't start until close to the beginning of spring when the grounds are thawed out a little bit and that sort of thing. So just to let you know where that one stands.
Okay.
And
All right. I don't know how long this is going to last, but I'm here.
Yeah. Oh, good. And I have nothing else at this point unless someone else has some additional questions or whatever.
Just be careful if you have your phone on because you're going to get an enormous amount of feedback.
Oh, phone's off.
Okay.
I am getting feedback though.
Yeah, something's going on there, buddy.
Bet I know.
iPad.
Let's see. There we go.
We have an echo chamber.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Put his other one
Hopefully
in the
that
waiting
worked.
room. If you put his other one in the waiting room, you won't get the echo anymore, at least on our end.
Let's see, how do I put that? Saying move to start.
Then again, I'm getting an eating by a dog right now, so
So
I might not be the best person to talk
you're saying if I remove the non-picture one.
yes, if you put that one in the waiting room, then we will not get
I
we should not get the
I
feedback.
don't have a thing for waiting room.
I
I have
think-
to move.
I think he just fixed the problem, Bob, if you want to say something.
Oh, okay.
Say something, Bob.
I'm here.
Perfect.
Yeah, he's
Perfect.
good.
My internet connection is unstable. I'm getting a message that says that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not unlike some of the other stuff that's going on around here. It's okay.
All right, so we're all good?
We are all good. Next meeting will be, looks like March 4th.
Right.
Very good.
Right.
Well, thank you everyone for your time and your efforts. I think we're moving along pretty nicely here. Turning the school over to the Board of Ed is a milestone
Yeah.
that we've worked
Yeah,
pretty hard to get to.
Yeah.
And I appreciate everybody's efforts. I want everybody to know it was worth it. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Building's tremendous.
Thanks for all your hard work, Bob, on that too. Kudos, team.
Thank you.
Exactly. We couldn't have done it without you. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Okay.
you too, Bob.
Yeah. Be safe out there.
Have a good night.
Oh, yeah.
Stay in.
Yeah. Okay.
Good night, everybody.
Night. Okay. Send the meeting for all.